Hello and welcome. So I'm back. I'm going to be reading part 5 from the book The Bitch Switch by Omarosa. Part 5 is called Negotiating with the Switch. So I'm just going to get right into it and start reading part 5. Bitch Switch Negotiation Rule Number 1. Ask. If you can't go around it, over it, or go through it, you had better negotiate with it. Ashley Brilliant. People ask me all the time where I got my knack for negotiation. I usually respond, I get it from the YO. That is Youngstown, Ohio, one of the most dangerous cities in America. Along with my BA and MA degrees, I have a degree from the School of Hard Knocks. Growing up in an inner city housing project, I learned that negotiation skills meant the difference between life and death. During my years in high school, more than 10 of my classmates were killed. I never liked the idea of fighting, so in order to avoid it at all costs, I became a skilled negotiator at an early age. Certainly, growing up in an area that prized toughness affected my personality. I learned very early on not to let people push me around and to never take no for an answer. Nowadays, everyone I meet asks me about my encounters with the powerful men that I have worked with, like Bill Clinton, Al Gore, heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, and even Gene Simmons. But the person I am asked about most is the president of the Trump Organization, Donald J. Trump. Trump is, first and foremost, a master negotiator and dealmaker. It's not because he has a long list of extreme tactics up his sleeves. His main tactic is that he makes demands that no one else dreams of making. In the late 70s and early 80s, when no one else was offering high-end luxury living in New York City, Trump negotiated unique deals that allowed him to secure loans with little collateral, and he strategically took advantage of sizable tax breaks. His strategy was simple. He simply asked. There is one little tool that will increase the likelihood of winning in deal-making and negotiations by 1,000%. It's called asking. Many women don't get what they want because they don't even bother to ask. WWOD, or what would Omarosa do? Omarosa, I'm a yes person. I've just never been able to say no. As such, I'm an awful negotiator, especially when it comes to money. I tend to take the first offer that comes my way, even though I know it's not the best I can get. Do you have any tips on how, as a woman, to be a better negotiator? This is something I can't afford to wait any longer to learn. Much obliged. Yes, ma'am. Dear Yes, ma'am, learning how to say no and negotiate your happiness can't be taught in 5 minutes. It's a lifestyle change, and hopefully my book will get you in the right frame of mind. If you think saying no and negotiating your worth as a simple turning on and turning off of the B switch, you'll find it easier than you could have ever imagined. Here are some other quick tips. Never tell an employer what you need. Speak only in terms of what you're worth. And don't hesitate to overreach. You're worth it. After the first offer is made, keep quiet. By not speaking, you are non-verbally saying no while opening wage negotiations. And do not take any job without discussing salary beforehand. Negotiate, period. Men are 4 times more likely to negotiate their salary than women are, putting women at a severe disadvantage in the workplace. Hope these tips help. Good luck, Omarosa. Hell no is the beginning of the negotiation. God gave women intuition and femininity. Used properly, the combination easily jumbles the brain of any man I've ever met. Farrah Fawcett. In preparation for writing this book, I conducted hundreds of informal interviews with women about their personal challenges. One thing became clear to me. Women are afraid to negotiate because they are afraid of the word no. They go to great lengths to avoid hearing or saying the word no. In the workplace, at home, and in all those small daily interactions, the word no looms like a dark cloud. A doormat sees this word as a rejection. The end. The B switch allows you to see it as a challenge, the beginning of the negotiation. I have found that most things in life worth having are worth fighting for, so there is no reason to fear being told no. I have learned to use my B switch as something akin to a shield, and I use it to ensure that I get what I want. No is not a barrier that can't be overcome, and it should not be for you. You will face adversity at every single turn, so learn to anticipate it. As a skilled and competitive, lifelong chess player, I have learned the importance of staying 3 moves ahead. It used to be that no was the beginning of the negotiation for me, but as the stakes have gotten higher, it's advanced into a finite hell no. We women know all too well what it's like to keep hitting the same glass ceiling and treading on sticky floors for too long. These barriers require a change in attitude from no to hell no. Now you've got the switch, why not use it? Being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't. Margaret Thatcher. Whether we are comfortable with the process or not, at some point we are going to have to negotiate. After all, we engage in many small negotiations throughout our everyday of our lives. My sweet older sister Gladys, for example, has a teenage son, Jalen, who wanted to stay out late with his friends one night until midnight, past his 10 p.m. curfew. They negotiated back and forth and finally decided upon 11 p.m. as a compromise. At work, a client wants a report turned in on Wednesday instead of the previously agreed upon date of Friday. After some discussion, we agree that he will get the report by the end of Thursday. You see an ad in the newspaper for the perfect mattress set for your guest room. When you walk into the store, the price actually turns out to be $100 higher. What should you do? Negotiate. With the B-switch tools outlined in this section, you will enter negotiations with confidence and be certain to come out on top, or at least not on the bottom. Using the switch can mean several things. Being proactive when you need to be, taking control of a situation when called for, and lying low when necessary. I have a close friend, Gwen, who hates the whole idea of being assertive or bringing attention to a situation, even if she's being taken advantage of. I explained to her that she can be appropriately assertive at the right moment, then go back to her passive ways once she's treated fairly, as she deserves. Gwen is not changing from the kind, sweet-natured person that she's always been. She's simply flipping on her B switch to get what she wants. You don't have to be a bitch to be good at negotiations. You may, however, have to flip on your B switch in order to draw the necessary power to stop being pushed around by those who are accustomed to taking advantage of your kindness. So now she has listed here some tips for negotiating, and then she has a few paragraphs under each tip, but I'm just going to go through just what the tips are because they're pretty self-explanatory. So, bitch switch tips for negotiating. Stop being so agreeable. Be clear. Approach negotiations boldly. Be specific. Be confident of your value. Beware the gender trap. Practice so you're ready for big negotiations. And then that's close to the end of the chapter. But, let's see. It's like maybe 4 or 5 more pages. So let's see. I did see something in here that looked interesting a second ago. Maybe I'll read that just before I close out. Where is it? Oh, okay. So, beware the gender trap. It is important to avoid clear gender traps inherent in negotiation. When men are aggressive and downright mean, it is widely considered to be part of his game plan or strategy. No one ever perceived Piers as crossing the line or being outrageous. She's talking about Piers Morgan on Celebrity Apprentice. Because of underlying gender bias, he was perceived as a tough businessman, using tactics that come with playing in the big leagues with the big boys. When women match that level of aggressiveness, they are perceived as emotional, out of control, or crazy. Keeping your emotions in check during intense negotiations will help you get further. And I just wanted to read that because although some people say that women are more emotional than men, I don't agree with that. I think that we can both be equally emotional. Maybe we show it in different ways. But because of gender bias and the way that women are often viewed in the business world or just in life, us being emotional is looked down on and even hyped up. It just any little, show of emotion, So I just thought that would be good to read. And then she has outlined again, let's see. I saw a little section in here. I'm just flipping through while I'm going through this with you all. She has something in here about contracts, not being afraid of contracts and negotiating those. Then she talks more about when she was on some of the shows that she's been on. There's a section about negotiating your salary. And then she says negotiate your happiness even. And there's a quote here that says, if you want the rainbow, you've got to put up with the rain. Dolly Parton. So, let's see. Then she just has a few tips here right at the back or the end of this section, so I'll read those for you. So, bitch switch tips. Ask, ask, ask. Hell no is the beginning of the negotiation. Use the switch to be proactive, take control, or lie low. Don't hand anything over. Don't give up without a fight.